They said my husband's salary was 5,000, but he only gave me 4,000 for our family of five's living expenses. My mother-in-law was ill, and my husband had his social obligations. In the end, only 1,000 remained to sustain all five of us. I could only eat discarded meat scraps and withered vegetables. I didn't dare go to the hospital when I was sick. Yet, my mother-in-law would still point her finger at me and scold, "You wasteful woman. So many years and you haven't saved a single penny." Only later did I learn that my husband had always deceived me with a fake salary. He took his secret lover, Sarah, on overseas trips, bought a mansion for his parents, and luxury goods for his sister. I suffered from severe anemia, but my mother-in-law still forced me onto the balcony to collect laundry. I fainted, fell from the rooftop, and died. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on the day my husband first lied to me about his salary. Liam, looking awkward, presented a shiny pay card. "My salary was cut this month, but no matter how tough things get for me, I can't let you or the family suffer. You keep 4,000, I'll just keep 1,000. Waking up from a fierce pain, the scene before me stunned me for a few seconds. My mother-in-law's harsh voice rang in my ears. "My son works so hard to earn money, and now his salary is cut. Don't you dare be wasteful, understand?" Her scolding slowly brought me back to my senses. I clenched my fists and looked up to see Liam's deceptively honest face, etched with feigned embarrassment. "Honey, don't be angry. When I get a promotion and a raise, I promise I'll bring all my money home." His eyes darted around, a clear sign of guilt. Why didn't I see through it in my previous life? Why was I fooled by his lies for 7 long years? In my past life, Liam's salary was never cut. In fact, he was promoted to sales manager, with his monthly income soaring from 10,000 to 50,000. Yet he still only brought home 5,000, lying that the company was facing difficulties and everyone's salary was reduced. Meanwhile, my sister-in-law needed tutoring and my mother-in-law needed expensive medication. The money he gave me vanished like water. In less than half a month, only a few hundred remained. During that time, Liam even asked me for the remaining money, claiming it was for social networking. I always saved the best food and meat for my sister-in-law, father-in-law, and mother-in-law. For myself, I scrimped every penny, picking up discarded meat scraps, stale fish, rotten shrimp, and withered vegetables from the market. 7 years passed. Due to long-term malnutrition, I suffered from severe anemia. To save money, I didn't dare go to the hospital even when I was sick. Dizziness and chronic coughing became my constant companions. When I refused my mother-in-law a loan for her mahjong addiction, she pointed her finger at me and cursed, "You wasteful woman, so many years and you haven't saved a single penny. Useless. What are you standing there for? Can't you see it's about to rain? Go collect the laundry." As I climbed onto the balcony, my vision blurred. The next second, I fell heavily. The loud thud drew the attention of my father-in-law, mother-in-law, and sister-in-law. My mother-in-law looked at me with disgust. Perfect timing for her to die. Now Liam can finally marry Evelyn. My sister-in-law patted her chest. "I've been hiding lately, afraid sister-in-law would find out you bought me an iPad." My father-in-law laughed even more joyously. "Finally, we can move into the mansion Liam bought for us." Before I died, I heard the truth. It turned out my husband had always used a fake salary to deceive me, while he took his white moonlight secret lover, Sarah, on overseas trips, bought a mansion for his parents, and luxury goods for his sister. The pain from my fingernails digging into my flesh brought me back to reality. I looked over and saw my father-in-law's indifferent expression and my sister-in-law's cold, emotionless face. Rage surged within me, threatening to erupt. Everyone knew, only I was fooled. "If you won't let me live, then in this life, I'll take care of all of you first." I suppressed my anger, feigning suspicion as I looked at Liam. "That's strange. You're a long-term employee. Why would your salary be cut? Tomorrow, I'll ask your manager why only your salary was reduced." Liam's face immediately froze. His eyes widened like a strangled duck, unable to utter a word for a long time. In my previous life, I naively believed his words, only keeping 1,000 for living expenses, even feigning sorrow. How can 1,000 be enough? I'll only keep 3,000. Liam hugged and kissed me, proudly saying he had married a good wife. Now, thinking back, it was truly ridiculous. "Don't go asking." he blurted out anxiously, his eyes pleading as he turned to my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law's harsh voice immediately shot up. If you go make a scene, what will the leaders think of Liam? Sophie put down her phone and interjected. Sister-in-law, if you go to the company and make a fuss, it'll affect my brother's future. Liam nodded, seizing the opportunity. Honey, don't be angry. This salary cut is probably just temporary. Maybe it'll go back to normal next month. I pretended to be convinced. All right, I won't go. The people in the house breathed a sigh of relief. My mother-in-law glared at me. Such a busybody, aren't you going to cook dinner? I remained silent. My mother-in-law snorted coldly, then went with everyone into the living room. Liam sat with his legs crossed, eating melon seeds and playing games with his sister. My in-laws sat watching TV, no one even glancing towards the kitchen. I cleared my throat a few times, then spat several globs of phlegm into the braised pork hock that had just finished cooking. Then I stirred it thoroughly. Married to Liam for 3 years, I had never once eaten my fill in this house. The good meat never came to my turn. If I so much as took one piece, my mother-in-law would yell, "Shameless! Meat is for men, don't you dare touch it." But I knew she secretly added delicious dishes for my sister-in-law and herself behind my back. At dinner time, I set the food on the table. The 4 family members sat neatly around the pot of pork hock, devouring it, while I didn't touch my chopsticks. Today is truly a special occasion, my father-in-law suddenly remarked. This pork hock is truly delicious. He continued to eat. I struggled to suppress a smile, not touching the pork hock at all. Liam's parents, everyone, eat a lot. That night, Liam lay in bed, fiddling with his phone. I knew he was texting his ex-girlfriend, Sarah. I spoke up abruptly. Liam, I've been thinking, $4,000 a month isn't enough for our family of 5. Before, I gave Mother my 3 gold items to hold for me. Now, I want them back to sell and supplement our living expenses. In my previous life, my mother-in-law had taken my gold bracelet and ring under the pretext that as a housewife, I didn't need gold and she would keep them safe. At the time, I disagreed, but Liam persuaded me. Mother is old and not in good health. Don't argue with her. I'll buy you new things later. The result was that I never received anything from Liam until my death. As for the gold, my mother-in-law sold it, gambled it all away, and lost everything. Hearing me, Liam froze, rubbing his nose, looking guilty. Didn't Mother keep those? Is it okay to take them back now? I straightened my face. Liam, a daughter-in-law's gold belongs to the daughter-in-law. Why should your mother keep it? He glared. What nonsense are you talking about? What's wrong with Mother keeping it? You belong to my family now. I smiled coldly. All right then. Tomorrow, I'll go to your company and ask your leaders if $5,000 a month means they want to starve our family to death. Liam immediately deflated like a leaky balloon. Okay, I'll ask Mother to return it tomorrow. He was forced to get up. Soon after, I heard my mother-in-law's furious scolding from her room, but it only lasted a moment. Liam returned with the gold. Here, take it. Don't make a fuss anymore. I lowered my face, saying nothing, and took the sparkling gold items. In my heart, I laughed coldly. I wouldn't just make a fuss, I would turn this entire household upside down. The next morning, I went to the market and bought some withered vegetables, stale fish, rotten shrimp, and discarded meat scraps, then returned home. These things should also be tasted by my mother-in-law, father-in-law, and sister-in-law. After that, I left the house and went to see my best friend Mia Wang. She used to be a housewife like me, but now she's a live streamer with millions of fans, considered a minor internet celebrity. Seeing me, she was surprised. What's wrong? Did your husband finally let you follow me into live streaming? I didn't hide anything, recounting everything about Liam's family. Mia, I came to see you today because of live streaming. Can you help me expose Liam's deception? Mia raised an eyebrow. Are you really going to do it? Cut off his escape route? Yes, I nodded. He's heartless, so I'll be ruthless. He said his salary is only $5,000. I'll make sure it really is only $5,000. Mia agreed easily, partly to help me and partly to boost her account's popularity. This was why I sought her out. The two of us immediately made a plan. At noon, I didn't go home for lunch. Instead, I had a lavish meal with Mia, then sold my 3 gold items for cash. During that time, my mother-in-law and sister-in-law called many times. I put my phone on silent, ignoring all messages and calls. I got my hair done and bought a new outfit. In my previous life, I never dared to take care of myself to save money, afraid of being a burden to my family. The result was that I was always messy and disheveled, earning only Liam's contempt. Always so sloppy, not like a woman at all. This time, I would live for myself. Mia had a cousin who happened to be interning in Liam's department at Jetta Company. He told us that the CEO of the parent company would be visiting the branch that afternoon for an inspection. This was the perfect opportunity to act. Mia's cousin came downstairs to greet us, fabricating a reason to get past security without difficulty, quickly ushering us in. When we reached the 8th floor office, I saw a middle-aged man with an air of authority patting Liam's shoulder with appreciative eyes. "Director Liam, your plan this time is excellent. If the contract is signed, your bonus will be substantial." Mia and I exchanged a glance, understanding that this man was the CEO of the parent company. Mia adjusted the livestream camera angle, signaling me to act. Colleagues surrounded Liam and the CEO, flattering them. Liam's white moonlight, Sarah, was pressed close to him, her eyes full of adoration. "Mr. Liam, you are truly too talented." I walked over, pushing past the overly intimate figures of Sarah and Liam to stand before the CEO. "Hello, sir. You are the CEO of Jetta Company, aren't you? I am Liam's wife." Liam, from behind, gasped, his voice filled with panic. I ignored him, meeting the CEO's questioning gaze, and continued. "May I ask why my husband, Liam, who always works diligently and is a long-term employee, had his salary cut from $10,000 to just $5,000? How can our family of 5 live on only $5,000? As I spoke, I raised my hand to wipe away tears. Meanwhile, I used an onion hidden in my sleeve to lightly touch the corners of my eyes, making the tears flow even more intensely. The CEO looked distinctly uncomfortable. This. Liam quickly rushed over, his forehead beaded with sweat, blocking me from the CEO. "Director Gu, I apologize, truly sorry. This is my wife, she has some mental issues." He bowed subserviently, pulling me away while lowering his voice to warn, "What are you doing? Go home immediately." I feigned struggling, my voice rising sharply. "Liam, I know you are always dedicated to the company, but you can't be this upright and incorruptible. You work overtime every day more than before, but your salary is cut. Outsiders would think you're out there supporting a mistress and neglecting your family." Several female colleagues nearby overheard, glancing at Sarah and giggling behind their hands. Sarah's face flushed crimson, then turned ashen, looking utterly mortified. I continued, "Could it be that someone is bullying you? Otherwise, why would only your salary be cut?" Liam's face turned red, his neck stiff. The CEO began to frown, annoyed. Whispers erupted around us. "What nonsense are you talking about?" Liam's face went from white to red, then pale green. His entire body stiffened. He pulled me harder. I deliberately stomped my high heel onto his leather shoe, then twisted it. "Ah," Liam cried out in pain, releasing my arm reflexively. The CEO immediately spoke in a stern voice that echoed through the office. "Explain yourself. Who cut your salary? Who made you work overtime?" Liam trembled, his body rigid. I stepped closer to the CEO, tears streaming down my face. "Don't you know, sir? Could it be that my husband voluntarily took a pay cut for the company's sake, and you weren't even aware?" Liam's eyes widened in astonishment. Sarah stepped forward, forcing a smile. "Director Gu, please don't be angry. This probably has nothing to do with Mr. Liam." I turned to her, my voice sharp. "How can it have nothing to do with him? My husband himself said so." Sarah choked, forcing another awkward smile. "Director Gu, there are too many people here. How about we go to the office?" Right, Liam nodded profusely. I still acted innocent and naive. Why do we need to go to the office for no reason? What shady business is my husband involved in? Chuckles erupted around us, making Liam's face turn white. The CEO pondered for a moment, then said sternly, "Speak here." Liam and Sarah looked at each other, their faces pale and flustered, unsure what to do. I wiped my tears and continued my act. "If Liam voluntarily reduced his salary for the company, then I apologize, sir. But don't you think this spirit of sacrifice deserves commendation? Such a good employee should be publicized." The CEO froze, unconsciously nodding, but then he pointed towards the corner of the room where Mia Wang was live streaming. I shouted, "Husband, tell our friends on the live stream about your sacrifice. Tell them about your contributions to the company." Liam was still bewildered when Mia Wang brought him into the frame. "Hello, everyone. I'm sure you've all just witnessed what happened. Now, let's interview our voluntarily salary-reduced employee, Mr. Liam." Liam's mouth hung open, staring blankly at the live stream camera. Sarah was so flustered that her lips twitched uncontrollably, only able to glare at me. I glanced over and saw several colleagues in the room secretly opening the live stream to watch. "Husband, don't be shy." I grabbed his face and turned it towards the camera. "This is a great opportunity to promote your company and demonstrate your honesty, integrity, and noble spirit of sacrifice. Who knows, maybe the parent company will give you a reward and commendation." On the other side, Mia Wang raised her hand, signaling me. I immediately understood. The number of live stream viewers had skyrocketed to 500,000. After a long moment, Liam finally reacted. He struggled free from me and lunged to snatch the live stream device from Mia Wang's hand. "What are you doing? This is a company. Who allowed you to live stream indiscriminately?" Mia Wang quickly dodged to the side. Liam tripped and fell awkwardly to the floor. Seeing this, Sarah rushed over to help him up, but I swiftly extended my foot to block them, causing both to stumble and then fall onto the floor, piled on top of each other with a thud. The scene became chaotic. CEO Gu seemed to have realized something. He rubbed his chin thoughtfully, saying nothing. Liam and Sarah stumbled back to their feet. I also seized the opportunity to join the live stream. The chat room was filled with angry comments. "Voluntarily reducing salary. First time I've heard that. Let me see who's stupid enough to do this." "Ah, it's Jetta Company. A dark company forcing people to say that right. This kind of company is destroying the entire salary market. I suggest the financial industry completely blacklist them." CEO Gu's face grew darker and darker. He looked directly at Liam and sternly demanded, "Explain this clearly. If the company's reputation is damaged, I will hold you accountable." Liam jumped, his whole body shaking. He secretly peeked at Sarah's phone, seeing the flood of comments on the live stream. His entire body went limp, his hand holding the phone trembling incessantly. Just then, a spectacular plot twist occurred. Liam trembled, looking around, then approached CEO Gu, forcing a dry laugh. "Misunderstanding? It's all just a misunderstanding. It's my fault. I just didn't make it clear to my wife, haha, causing everyone to misunderstand." "That's not right." I pulled out my phone and played the recording of our conversation from last night. It turned out that last night, before going to bed, I had deliberately set a trap for him to repeat the entire story of voluntarily reducing his salary. Every word he said was carefully recorded by me. I feigned confusion, blinking innocently. "But you clearly said that last night." The live stream exploded, and so did the office. Someone gasped, and the whispers grew even louder. Liam's face turned crimson. "Enough," he shouted at me. "I was wrong. I said the wrong thing, okay? I lied to you." Mia Wang immediately brought the camera closer to him. "No, that's not right. You must have some difficulties you can't talk about, right?" I shook my head, looking at Liam with absolute trust. "I believe you wouldn't lie to me. Your boss must have forced you to do this, right?" Liam's face turned purplish, almost on the verge of tears. "Please, wife, stop talking." He turned to CEO Gu, forcing a smile that looked worse than crying. "It's really a misunderstanding, truly a misunderstanding." CEO Gu looked at him coldly, then calmly said, "If you want a pay cut so badly, then I'll grant your wish. From today, you are no longer project director. This position will be given to someone else. You also don't need to be a manager anymore. You'll be downgraded to a regular employee. Your salary will be 10,000, but I will deduct a 1,000 bonus from you." "Director Gu, please don't." Liam lunged, trying to grab his sleeve, but was brushed aside. He fell to his knees with a thud, slapping his own face and scolding himself. "I'm not human. I deceived my wife. I didn't want to bring money home. It has absolutely nothing to do with the company. It's all my fault. I used the company as an excuse." The scene was so utterly humiliating that Sarah had already secretly slipped away. On the live stream, comments surged again. It turns out he's a cheapskate husband who doesn't want to give his wife money. 10,000 became 5,000, what a petty mind. To support a family of 5 and be so stingy is truly unreasonable. He even fabricated a story and used the company as a shield. This scumbag deserves karma. Drag this guy out and beat him, brothers. One account on the live stream even posted Liam's resume, but after just a few minutes, that person disappeared from the internet. CEO Gu turned off the live stream and walked away. Before leaving, he coldly told his assistant, demote Liam to a regular employee, deduct 1,000 from his bonus, and let him reflect on himself. Hearing this, Liam lay sprawled on the floor like a dead dog, his body limp. His face was covered in red, swollen handprints, clearly showing finger marks. To keep his job, he had ruthlessly slapped himself. His clothes and hair were disheveled, looking like a complete failure. He hung his head and punched his forehead. I sat down and hugged him, deliberately feigning joy. Husband, this is great. I got your salary back. Our family will have 10,000 every month again. Liam jolted awake, intending to scold me, but seeing he was still at the company, he could only glare at me furiously. We'll settle this when we get home. Husband, what are you saying? I wiped away non-existent tears and continued. This was just a misunderstanding. I know the company forbade you from speaking out, otherwise, why would your boss look so unhappy? I pretended to laugh triumphantly. See, I'm good, right? Just causing a little trouble and the money is back in your hands. You. Liam was so enraged by me that his face turned crimson, choked, and unable to utter a word. All right, I'm going home. Mom and sister are waiting for me to cook dinner. I stood up and happily left, but instead of going home, I invited Mia Wang to a restaurant. During the meal, Mia Wang asked, "What are you planning next?" I pondered for a moment, then replied, Liam hid his salary to spend money on Sarah. He must have used a lot of our joint assets for her. I need to get all that money back. I'll help you. We clinked our glasses together. Mia Wang and I looked at each other and smiled. That night, as soon as I opened the door and stepped inside, a glass bottle whizzed past my hair, slammed into the door, and shattered on the floor, leaving shards everywhere. Liam's furious voice rang in my ears. You still dare to come home. Liam sat at the dining table, his face flushed, eyes bloodshot, reeking of alcohol. On the floor lay a pile of empty liquor bottles. He had clearly been home for a long time. My father-in-law wasn't home. My mother-in-law and sister-in-law glared at me. Sister-in-law, what were you doing all day? You didn't answer your phone or come home. Mother and I are starving here, Sophie said coldly. My mother-in-law put her hands on her hips and began to rant. It's this late and you're still not home. What kind of daughter-in-law are you? You didn't even cook dinner. I smiled, setting down the money in my hand. What are you talking about, Mother? Didn't I buy meat and vegetables? Can't you all cook yourselves? Why do you always have to wait for me? My mother-in-law was so angry her nostrils flared. Sophie spat and jumped up, scolding. That meat was all discarded scraps and the vegetables were yellow. Clearly, they were trash. Who were you buying that for? Yes, I picked them up. My light reply stunned my mother-in-law and Sophie. What did you say? Didn't my husband say his salary was cut? Only 4,000 a month to support a family of 5? It's not enough. Mother needs injections and Sophie needs tutoring. We have to save money. I shrugged helplessly. But it's okay now, because my husband has money again. My mother-in-law was about to burst, but I quickly cut her off. Today, I went to my husband's company. I just made a small fuss and the company immediately gave him his money back. I spoke with increasing excitement, pretending not to notice their pale faces. The company deliberately made things difficult for my husband, saying he voluntarily took a pay cut. Who's that stupid? They really pressured my husband too much? I pulled my mother-in-law and Sophie's hands. Mother Sophie, next month our family will have 10,000 again. Aren't you happy? Shut up, Liam roared, swinging his arm and knocking a glass bottle off the table, shattering it. I smiled coldly, saying nothing more. He had been demoted, his salary cut from 50,000 to 10,000 and an additional 1,000 bonus deducted. Today's scene must have completely disgraced him at the company, but Liam, being prideful, could only swallow the bitter pill. My mother-in-law's eyes widened like brass bells. A few seconds later, she began to beat her chest, stomp her feet, and wail. "Oh my God, how can we live on so little money?" In my previous life, my mother-in-law was just like this, valuing money more than life itself. When our 10-year-old electric stove broke and I replaced it with a new one, she scolded me for half a day. "It's just 1,000 yuan, mother. Why are you crying so much? Someone might think father passed away." My mother-in-law nearly choked. Sophie quickly patted her back to calm her. Once she composed herself, she raised her hand to strike me. I remained calm and spoke softly. "Luckily, I've found a way to earn money." My mother-in-law's hand froze in midair, her eyes revealing greed. She swallowed her anger and pressed, "What way? Tell me quickly." I feigned a slip of the tongue, being evasive. "Nothing's certain yet. You'll know when I actually earn the money." My mother-in-law clutched her chest, constantly complaining. What karma did I create to end up with a daughter-in-law like this? Liam, drunk, lay sprawled on the table, sleeping like a dead man. I gave a faint smile, went into my room, and conveniently locked the door. The next morning, Liam had a severe cold and was laid up, unable to get out of bed. "Honey, I feel so bad." I replied indifferently, putting on my shoes, preparing to go out. "Why aren't you getting me medicine?" Liam said in a hoarse voice from his sore throat, wanting to be angry but unable to. "Get it yourself, don't you have hands?" I remembered when I had a fever of over 40 degrees during the pandemic, and he wouldn't even pour me a glass of water. Now he wanted me to take care of him. He must be dreaming. I slammed the door shut, leaving his curses echoing from inside. From that day on, I started leaving early in the morning and coming home late at night. I no longer served my in-laws or took care of Liam. Because Liam's salary was cut and he was fined, the Lee family's dining table was now filled only with discarded meat scraps, stale fish, and rotten shrimp. I never ate at home, but seeing my mother-in-law and sister-in-law frown as they ate filled my heart with schadenfreude. About 3 months later, I brought home a bulging bag. When I arrived, the whole family was eating. My mother-in-law glanced at me, grumbling, "Home so early? But there's no portion for you." Liam and Sophie lowered their heads, saying nothing. My father-in-law snorted coldly, "It's good you know your way home." I said nothing, walked to the dining table, and swept the plates and bowls onto the floor. Under everyone's angry gaze, I slammed the bag onto the table and unzipped it. Inside was a pile of cash, stacked neatly. Everyone's mouths hung open, unable to speak. My mother-in-law was the first to speak. "Jenna, what is this? Did you earn this money?" There was at least over 100,000 yuan inside. When I said this was the money I earned in just 1 month, everyone in the family's eyes widened. I explained, this money was all earned through Mia Wang's company's platform. They don't just do live streaming, they also offer lending services and capital fundraising. To be frank, it's like private fundraising, high profits, but also high risks. Hearing this, my mother-in-law's heart was immediately stirred. She hurried into her room to get her money. Liam snorted coldly, scoffing, "It's all a scam, mother, don't believe her." "That's right, mother," I added, feigning concern. "Investment has risks. I was just lucky to earn this much." My mother-in-law pondered for a moment, finally deciding to give up. But when I continuously brought home more and more money, she and Liam couldn't sit still anymore. "Daughter-in-law, is there really a risk? What if we lose everything?" My mother-in-law asked, full of suspicion. I pretended to be troubled, shaking my head. "Yes, the risk is very high. That's why I advise everyone not to invest. But why do you keep earning more and more money?" My mother-in-law glared at me. "You don't want us to earn money, do you?" Liam pulled out a bank card and said, "We are husband and wife. You can't earn money without caring for your family." I asked, "How much is in there?" "About 200,000 yuan." I pretended to be troubled, shaking my head. "It's not enough. Currently, the platform requires a minimum of 500,000 to invest. That's why I advised everyone not to participate. The risk is very high." Liam froze, then gritted his teeth. "Okay, wait for me. I'll find a way." That night, when Liam was fast asleep, I secretly checked his phone. It turned out his way was to borrow money from Sarah. Sarah hesitated for a few days, but eventually agreed. They didn't know that the money I brought home had absolutely nothing to do with the profits from the investment platform. It was the money I earned from live streaming with Mia Wang. I took screenshots of the transfer messages and the ambiguous conversations between Liam and Sarah, then put the phone back in its place. The 100,000 yuan Sarah lent, plus Liam's 200,000, was still not enough. During that time, he even tried to trick me into taking money from our joint account, but I firmly refused. He was still short 200,000, and I had no idea where he managed to get it from. I pretended to be impatient and told him about an investment website. In my heart, I was overjoyed, seeing Liam sitting seriously in front of the computer to input the data. I tried to suppress my laughter, even pretending to advise him, maybe we should forget it? The risk is too great. The money could be lost, and the principal too. Get lost, Liam impatiently pushed me. My mother-in-law glared at me, spitting. You ill-omened crow, can't you say anything good? Sophie sat chewing potato chips, shouting, Brother, buy me an iPad. The money is about to come in, right? I smiled faintly. Sister, save a little. What if there's nothing to eat later? Sophie glared at me. You don't need to worry. Liam doted on his sister and eventually gave her 10,000 yuan to buy the latest iPad. 10 days later, I printed a fake, edited ultrasound report and deliberately hid it under the sofa where my mother-in-law often sat. Sure enough, my mother-in-law found it and immediately made a scene, shouting, This shameless woman, married for 5 years and no child. It turns out you have cervical cancer. Divorce, we must divorce. When Liam learned of this, he wasn't surprised. His eyes even flashed with cruelty and disgust. You can't have children, we must divorce. The Li family cannot have its lineage cut off. I hope you understand. Sophie stood nearby, adding fuel to the fire. Sister-in-law, they say online that cervical cancer is often caused by dirty diseases. Don't you dare infect my brother. I wept bitterly, choking out, Are you really so heartless? The doctor said my illness can be treated. It's only in the early stage. Liam replied coldly, I already asked. This disease requires a hysterectomy. Sophie, playing on her newly bought iPad, mocked me. That's right. If you can't have children, what good are you? I wiped my tears and said, All right, let's get a divorce. My mother-in-law and Liam immediately showed joyful expressions. I knew their calculations well. In recent days, their investments had been yielding quick profits, and the money was about to double. As long as they divorced me, the money earned wouldn't have to be shared with me. On the day of the divorce, I hired a lawyer. When Liam looked at the agreement, he slammed it down on the table. What? You want me to leave empty-handed? On what grounds? I took out the messages and evidence of him transferring money to Sarah, my voice calm. On the grounds that you cheated on me. Liam's face turned pale, then from green to red. Fine, Jenna Zhang, you're good. But he adamantly refused to sign. Unexpectedly, my mother-in-law pulled him aside and whispered something. Just a few seconds later, Liam's attitude completely changed. He snatched the agreement, signed it, and put his fingerprint on it immediately, even saying, Jenna Zhang, don't you dare regret this. After the 30-day mediation period, I officially divorced Liam. As I moved my belongings out of the house, Sophie, chewing gum, stared at me, as if afraid I would take something that didn't belong to me. Do you think forcing my brother to leave empty-handed means you win? Let me tell you the truth. All his money has been invested in financial products. My brother has no assets at all. Once you're out of this house, any money he earns later will have nothing to do with you. Sarah will become my sister-in-law. She'll buy me lots of bags and clothes, unlike you, such a country bumpkin. I smiled faintly. All right then. From now on, I won't be your sister-in-law anymore. I don't need to care what you do. In my previous life, because Liam and I had no children, I always treated my 17-year-old sister-in-law like my own child, taking care of her every little need. I would willingly go hungry to prepare steamed crab and boiled shrimp, her favorite dishes. The result was that I raised an ungrateful wolf. After coming back to life, I understood clearly that some people are not worthy of one's sacrifice and love. I turned my head without a single regret, leaving the house I had lived in for 5 years. But the money they desired might not be so easy to get. After settling down, I called Mia Wang. Mia, the divorce is done and the money has been acquired. Now we just wait to cast the net. On the other end of the line, a loud laugh rang out. No problem. All the evidence on this side has been fully collected. Previously, the private company Liam invested in had been suspected of money laundering and illegal fundraising. As a major shareholder of the platform Mia Wang worked for, this company had exploited her for many years, forcing her to sell products of unknown origin and even embezzling her legitimate salary. Despite repeated complaints, there were no results. I suggested to Mia that if covert attacks failed, we would go public with a live stream expose. Mia thought for a moment, then decided to take a gamble. She looked at me, her voice heavy. They might be stronger than we think. Are you ready to dive into these murky waters? I smiled. I am a woman, you are also a woman. Women should help each other to avoid trouble. Mia and I rented a small apartment. During the live stream, I turned the camera towards Mia. She held her ID card, publicly exposing the company. The broadcast quickly attracted over 1 million viewers, all offering their opinions. An anonymous user who had previously found Liam's resume during an earlier livestream helped us again. Somehow, he uploaded all the internal transfer data of that company. Mia and I looked at each other, our eyes filled with astonishment. We took that evidence to the police. Under public pressure, the police quickly launched an investigation. Finally, in the 4th month after Liam's investment, the government busted the illegal company, freezing all its illicit assets and cutting off its financial chain. The money Liam invested was completely irrecoverable. Lacking funds, Liam had taken out high-interest loans to cover the 500,000 yuan. After 4 months, the interest compounded, and the debt multiplied many times over. According to Mia Wang's cousin, Liam couldn't repay his debt and tried to embezzle public funds, but this act was discovered by an accountant, and he was arrested on the spot. CEO Gu, out of compassion, gave him a way out, only asking him to leave the company. Sarah, however, refused to let go because her 100,000 yuan was still in Liam's account. She cursed Liam out, almost scratching his face off. Liam's reputation in the industry was ruined. He became an outcast, hated by everyone. When Mia Wang recounted this, I burst into loud, uncontrollable laughter. In the days that followed, my life was very peaceful. One evening after work, I unexpectedly saw a familiar figure waiting at the entrance of my apartment complex. Getting closer, it turned out to be Liam. I didn't know how he found my address or why he would show up here. Seeing his unstable condition, I immediately stepped back a few paces. You did this on purpose, didn't you? You deliberately made me invest and lose everything. Everything is gone. After several months, Liam looked utterly haggard. He wore a dirty white shirt and torn slippers, his eyes bloodshot and full of anger. You didn't just make me lose money, you pushed me into overwhelming debt because of high-interest loans. I smiled calmly. The money was yours, you decided to invest it. Taking out high-interest loans was also your decision. You personally entered the website data. I told you there were risks, high risks, but you didn't listen to me. I shrugged and sighed. Liam collapsed to the ground, trembling, grabbing my hand and pleading, "Jenna, please save me. If I can't repay the debt, I'll die." I looked down at him without emotion, "Then die." Hearing me, Liam staggered to his feet and pulled out a fruit knife, his eyes filled with intense hatred. "Are you really that cruel?" He roared and lunged straight at me. "You bitch, die." "Don't kill her." Unexpectedly, Sophie rushed out from somewhere and shielded me. Thwack, the sound of the knife piercing flesh echoed. Sophie clutched her stomach and fell into Liam's arms, blood gushing over his hands. He trembled and threw the knife to the ground. Seeing this, security immediately called the police. Liam was arrested. Sophie was saved but lost the ability to have children. When she heard that her son was arrested and her daughter severely injured, my mother-in-law fainted on the spot. After waking up, her face was distorted. She couldn't speak or move. Doctors concluded she had suffered a stroke. Hearing this news, my father-in-law immediately divorced her and disappeared with his money to an unknown location. Occasionally, I visit Sophie in the hospital. I asked her why she saved me. She just smiled bitterly and asked in return, "Sister-in-law, do you believe people can be reborn?" I tightened my palm and calmly replied, "I don't know, but I do know that spilled water cannot be collected. The things done and words spoken cannot be undone." I turned the doorknob and stepped out. Behind me, a weak, trembling voice echoed, "I'm sorry, if only I could go back sooner." The gloomy atmosphere seemed to dissipate as soon as the door opened, blending into the wind and sky. Ueno Chizuko once said, "In a male-centered social structure, women are often seen as sexual objects and reproductive tools. What's terrifying is that not only men think this way, but many women today also share this view. Those men and women both regard women as dependents on men rather than independent individuals." After experiencing all of this, I've come to understand a few things. Women in marriage should not revolve solely around their husbands. Becoming a housewife not only makes you live at the mercy of others' moods, but also makes you despised for not working. Placing your happiness in someone else's hands, even if that person is your husband, is not safe at all. When you discover a problem, cut your losses in time, break free from the shackles, and build your own life. This is the awakening of modern women. Women always need their own careers. I looked towards Mia Wang, not far away, and walked quickly towards her. Let's go make some money. Side story, my sister-in-law's perspective. I am Sophie Zhang, and Jenna Zhang was my sister-in-law, but I always looked down on her. Every day, she revolved around our family, diligently taking care of my brother, but her timid and reserved demeanor just made people irritated. No one in the family respected her, which made me hate her even more. After marrying my brother, she was persuaded by him to stay home as a housewife. Her monthly expenses all depended on my brother's salary. Until one day, my brother came home and lied that his salary had been cut from 10,000 to 5,000. Jenna Zhang naively believed him. From then on, she began to save to an extreme extent. She suffered from severe anemia, but still nurtured our healthy and robust family of 4. Finally, she died. Her death happened on the very day my mother told her to go to the balcony to collect the laundry. I once thought I would be happy when she died, but unexpectedly, I suffered from insomnia afterwards, unable to sleep at night. Then my brother married Sarah, his first love. She often visited me, bringing beautiful handbags and dresses. Sarah was beautiful and elegant, completely different from Jenna Zhang, but it was that perfect woman who destroyed our entire family. After they married, my brother discovered that Sarah had long had another man. My brother was just her backup plan. She used the excuse of pregnancy to demand my brother buy a house and a car, both registered under her name. Afterwards, all those assets were transferred by her to that other man. She tricked most of the family's assets out of us, then just walked away. Even the pregnancy was fake. Before leaving, she left a letter in which she mocked my brother. "Your manly abilities are both short and small. I don't understand how your previous wife endured it." By then, my family was deep in debt. My brother, betrayed by Sarah, had a mental breakdown. My mother wanted to marry me off to loan sharks. She locked me in the attic room. I tried to escape but slipped and fell from the balcony. Dizziness overwhelmed me, followed by intense pain. I died in the very spot where Jenna Zhang had fallen before. Memories rushed back like a fast-forwarded film. It was then that I realized I was wrong. My brother was also wrong. Everyone was terribly wrong. If I could have a chance to go back, I opened my eyes and saw Jenna Zhang.